everybody, welcome back to a new vlog and a new week at Oxford. I have just gotten ready to head over to Rhodes House because the plan today is to work there for a little bit, and then I actually have, John McCall McBain is a Canadian billionaire who is a former Rhodes Scholar, and he donates a lot of money to the Rhodes Trust. Like, I believe he fully funds a couple of the Canadian scholarships himself, and he, like, the main event hall in Rhodes House is named after him, which I think is super cool that it's a Canadian and not an American. But anyway, so last year I actually went to, he always hosts a dinner at his home for the new class of Canadian scholars. So I got to go last year and meet him and everything and have dinner at his residence with my cohort, which was very, very cool. Yeah, so today he is in Oxford, like over the weekend or something, and basically offered to like host these mentoring sessions for, I think it was just offered to the Canadians. I'm not totally sure, because obviously he doesn't have enough time to like do a one-on-one session with everybody. But at first I wasn't sure if I wanted to sign up, just because like he is very much like a businessman. He's not necessarily in like the field I'm interested in, but then I'm like, this guy has a lot of experience with everything, so doesn't hurt to go, and it's a cool experience. But the only things that were left were like the lunch slot, so I'm going over lunch with a couple other scholars, and then this evening he's hosting the Canadians for Canadian Thanksgiving, so very cool. But yeah, I feel slightly like overly professional for the day, but I didn't really know what to go for. So I think it'll be interesting, at least. Yeah, should be good. But I'm gonna head over to Rhodes House and work a bit before we meet for lunch. Alright guys, so as you've seen, I'm back at my dorm now because lunch was really great. I went and I worked for just a couple hours at Rhodes House, and a lot of the other Canadians happened to be there as well. Well, actually, I think a lot of them work at Rhodes House very, very often, and also everyone had signed up for one-to-one sessions. So I went to lunch with John McCall McBain, and then two older scholars. One was Canadian, the other wasn't, and then one of the 2024 Canadian Rhodes Scholars also came along. So that was cool to meet her because I hadn't met her yet. But yeah, it was interesting. Very, very good lunch as well. Definitely, like I think I said earlier, was an entrepreneur, very much like business kind of minded. So like isn't necessarily, but he knows everyone and has done a lot of different things. So even though like I'm not necessarily going like the business route, or that's not the plan anyway, still very interesting to talk to. So. And I think it's really cool that he is so involved and is so interested. And I knew that he donated a lot to Rhodes, obviously. And then he has his own scholarship to McGill called the McCall McBain, which is sort of like, it's kind of like the Rhodes Scholarship, but at McGill, like it is a very similar sort of program, I think. They have the same kind of thing where they do some like community like professional leadership development kind of stuff throughout the year, and you also, I think it's like a similar sort of like it's a fully funded grad scholarship and you get the living stipend and everything, so it's sort of similar like in structure to the Rhodes Scholarship, I would say. And I think actually in the last couple of years they've added international scholarships, which is really, really cool. So, but I also learned that he donates to and like sort of starts and fully funds like a lot of other scholarships just throughout the world. So really, really committed to like education, which is very, very cool. And yeah, just an interesting guy. So it was a good lunch. But it's been very rainy all day and I got a bit damp even though I had my umbrella, so I was chilly. So I decided to come back here instead of going to like the MCR, or Rhodes House was actually also quite cold today. So I was like, I'm gonna come home and warm up before dinner this evening because we have the Canadian Thanksgiving that he's hosting at, I think it's called like Brasserie something It's like a fancy French restaurant in Oxford that I'm pretty sure it's the one. I remember like last year, me and my friends were like asking older people at Pembroke like, oh, where's like good restaurants and stuff? And people said like this fancy French one, and I was like, I don't know who you think I am. I will not be going there by myself or just, you know, casually one night, but it's very nice that he's hosting dinner there and everything. So it should be fun. And I think pretty much all of the Canadians from my cohort are going, as well as the upper and the lower years. So it will be nice to see everybody and have everybody get together. So yeah, I've just been doing readings now though, so very like cozy in here. Hey guys, so sorry I didn't get to film much yesterday because while I was doing stuff, it was kind of like those off things where it's just not really like things that I can film. But the Canadian Thanksgiving was really fun. We went to Brasserie Blanc, which is like a French restaurant, and we had a set menu. So I had duck confit for the first time, however you say that, which was good. And yeah, we had a crumble for dessert. That was amazing. But yeah, it was good and like nice to see everybody all together. So that was fun. And today I have my first class. So my paleography class is kind of split into two. So we have meetings on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So today is more like codicology, history of the book focused, and then tomorrow is like specifically transcription. So yeah, I think it should be quite interesting. So I'm gonna head to the English faculty today for that. And then I think there's like a special lecture in the afternoon that I might stick around for. So I gotta double check where it is because I feel like the time was kind of like, or the room was like not, last I saw, I don't think it was like decided yet where it was gonna be. And I'm not sure if my class is gonna run into the lecture, so if it does, then I won't be able to go, but we'll see. So earlier today I went and worked at the English faculty, as you saw, before my paleography class, and then I had paleography, which was really interesting. So it's kind of split. I don't know if I've explained, the paleography class is split into like two classes, so I'll have it on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and the Tuesday class is more focused on like manuscript studies, history of the book, codicology, and then the Wednesday class is about transcription, specifically more like paleography, which is the study of old handwriting, basically. So like you'll be able to, theoretically, if you were, you know, good at it, you'd be able to date manuscripts based on the writing. You might be able to like identify the scribes, all that good stuff. So today was very introductory, so we were just kind of talking about a couple of the readings, which were like different approaches to like bibliographic studies and everything, which was cool. And then we looked at a lot of different manuscripts, and it was kind of like a what do you notice about these pages sort of thing, and what does that maybe like indicate about the text. So the thing that I appreciate about, like, I have some experience with paleography and like manuscript studies and everything, but like more manuscript studies than paleography, but like I don't have a lot of like formal training with paleography, particularly not in Old English. Like, I've seen manuscripts, I've handled manuscripts. This will definitely be like a more formal training in those methods. I think it's gonna be really good. It was very interesting today. And then I hung around to for this like medieval studies research seminar. No, medieval English research, it's like MERS. I think it's medieval English research seminars. So they do them like once a week, and it'll be like a different speaker every time. So this one was a speaker from Boston University, and it was about Julian of Norwich was probably the most famous one, and then these two other sort of religious writers from the period, and it was about asceticism and the impairment of Christ, like the idea of penance and what does penance actually mean. And there's sort of different like approaches or interpretations of like self-mutilation and everything, and depictions of Christ, and you know, just what that means. It was really, really interesting. Not something that like I've ever I mean, I've read like Julian of Norwich and stuff and studied, she was the main one that I'd heard of before. I think the other two had like been briefly mentioned in some history classes that I took, but yeah, Julian of Norwich was the big one. And yeah, it's just like a very interesting approach to it, and they give us sandwiches after, so that's always nice. And then I worked in the English faculty for a bit more before coming back because I realized I had quite a bit of time before this evening because I'm doing Pembroke again this year. So if you watched the videos last year, you might remember I did the book club that Pembroke MCR has. So first term we read Sylvia Plath poems, and the second term we were reading Ken Liu's The Paper Menagerie book of short stories. And then I didn't attend third term because it just was like conflicting with stuff, so I wasn't able to go. But yeah, this time we're reading some short stories, and I read the first one today, which was really, really good. So it's called Los Angeles by Ling Ma, I believe that's how you say it, was the first short story, and we're reading her collection. And I really enjoyed it. It's more like lit fic than what we were doing last term, which I like. Than what we were doing last year in the book club, which I like. It's something different. And yeah, I'm really excited for it, so that should be good. I have that at 7:30. But right now, I've just been kind of going over again some of the readings and like links for my first class of my English class tomorrow. So it's called, Writing the Past in Old English Literature. So we had some other readings, but then I also just want to show this because it's something that like people can all look at because it's on the British Museum website. It's not something that like is Bodleian specific that not everyone might have access to, although like some of the Bodleian stuff everyone anywhere can look at, but you know, some you might like need a library account or something, but I'll just show you. So this is a box basically from, I think it was 800, from the 8th century. Early 8th century is the production date. It was found in France, I believe. And it's, Middle Anglo-Saxon. So I just thought that was really cool. And then it's got like inscriptions and everything on it. And I believe, so it says the back panel shows the capture of Jerusalem in AD 70 by Titus. And then it also has a depiction of Romulus and Remus being nurtured by the wolf, and then an inscription in runic writing that's describing it. Yeah, so you can kind of see just like super detailed carvings and everything all over with just depicting like different scenes and legends, which is really cool. But yeah, that's just something that like you can look up on the British Museum. It's called, it just says casket, and it's made out of whalebone, of all things. And then like that's the museum number, so I'm assuming you can just look it up with that. But yeah, I thought that was cool. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that class. I think I got to take one English specific class last year through the English faculty, and it was on like place and space in medieval English. And yeah, this one is like very specifically Old English, which I've done less of. I've done more Middle English focused stuff. So it'll be something a little bit different, and I think it will be quite interesting. But yeah, looking forward to it. I have that tomorrow. And yeah, just kind of going over stuff for that. The other thing I've been reading, we have Bede's Ecclesiastical History of the English People, and then some like prefaces to the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, and then different like poems and stuff. So yeah. Exciting. I'm also taking, look, they're offering like translations of everything because I am also taking like an Old English class, but you know, can't read in Old English quite yet. So yeah, I'm enjoying it so far though. And yeah, it's been a busy but good day. Hi guys, so I've gotten up quite early today, which I did not enjoy, but I did it. To kind of like review and finish up my transcription exercises for this morning's class. It doesn't start till 11, so I'm going to head to the English faculty and like do some more work there. I have like a couple more to finish up. Once you get going, it doesn't take a long time, which I feel like maybe means I'm doing it wrong. It is very similar to what I was doing with Canterbury Tales because that was all transcription, but that was in Middle English, and this is different, so I'm just like it's similar but different. Yeah. But it's fun once you get going. But today is going to be a bit all over the place. The next couple days are actually, because I just have like stuff scheduled at the same time or right back to back, so it's just going to be a lot of back and forth. So I have 2 classes. I have a bit of time in between, so I'm going to just stick around the English faculty. But then, like, right after my last class, I'm meeting my friend Yago, who is at Christchurch for one of the Christchurch dinners, because actually the students have to, like, enter a lottery too. They're not guaranteed tickets for those kinds of formals. But she got us tickets, so I'm gonna go have dinner at Christchurch, which is really cool, because I love their hall, and their like fancy dinners, their guest dinners are usually pretty good. So that should be fun. So I'm like, I would normally dress a bit fancier for it, but I'm just gonna wear what I'm wearing today, and then I'm gonna like take a change of shoes and just change, because Christchurch is right across from Pembroke, so I can just go to my own MCR and change really quick. So this is what I'm wearing. Yeah, normally I would maybe go a little fancier just to like do it because you can, and how many chances do you get to? But yeah, I just don't want to carry around a full change of clothes, and I don't know if I have time to do like a full outfit swap, but I'm going to change into heels. So that's it. I don't know if the collared shirt looks nice under this. I don't mind it. I don't totally know, but this is what we're going with. And it's gonna be pretty warm today, so I don't need a super heavy coat. So I'm gonna break out the Burberry trench, which is exciting. It's its first real outing. I've just gotten more organized with my PhD search in the interim between my 2 classes. I did pretty good with the transcriptions. And I'm just waiting for my next lecture. So it is the next day now. I had a really nice dinner at Christchurch. They served venison, which I've never had before, and it was really good actually. I told my parents that, and they were like, must not have been actual venison then, because they're not fans, but this was, yeah, it was good. And then they had these like cream puff things for dessert that were incredible. And yeah, eating in that hall is so cool. Their like guest dinners, their fancy dinners are really good, but I think the Pembroke food for like regular meals is better. But their like fancy meals are probably better than ours. Had a nice time. I also had my English class in the evening, and I'm not gonna lie, I found the readings for it quite boring because it's like writing the past, so it's more like people of the time period writing about the history. And I found the class discussion really interesting. Like, I find the context of the pieces interesting, I guess, more than the readings themselves, because the readings are just like, Britain is here, and it has rivers, and it has land, and it has this, and then this person is the son of this person, who's the son of this person, who's the son of this person, who's dead. But what I didn't know is that one of the, like, something that was interesting that I learned in class that I didn't, you know, in the readings you just kind of like blow by it or whatever, but like one, they're tracing all these genealogies back to Woden, who is like the Anglo-Saxon name for Odin. So they're all like tracing themselves back to like, even though it's like an ecclesiastical history, it's like Christian history is kind of, it's talking about like pagan gods and like tracing their lineage back to that, which is kind of fascinating. So yeah, I found the class discussion interesting, which was, yeah, good, because like the readings weren't necessarily, I like the more literary text, you know, I like to read like Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, and like I like chivalric literature and romance literature, and like, yeah, I like the more literary texts than historical ones. So we are doing like a mix of things though, because there's gonna be like more sort of like quote-unquote nonfiction texts, but not really how you describe them for that time period. But we're gonna read more like histories and as well as literary texts eventually later in the term. This was very much just like an introductory class as well. So yeah, it's gonna be kind of a combination, which is good because like I think it will also be nice for me to get more of like a historical foundation of the time period as well. Like it'll be good for me to learn and to read some of these texts, even if it's not necessarily like my jam and what I want to focus on for my own research. I think it's like a good thing to have. So pros and cons, I guess. But yeah, the class discussion was interesting. My professor for that seems lovely. Yeah, so, and then after that, it ended at 6, and the reception at Christchurch was at 6:30, so I was like, I've got a motor if I'm gonna make this funeral. So I felt bad because I ducked out like as soon as class was done, but yeah, made it to Christchurch on time. Actually met some of the 2024 Rhodes Scholars from the States, so, and they were very, very nice and cool. So yeah, had a nice time. Today is also kind of go, go, go because I'm about to go drop my boots to see if they can fix the soles because the soles are falling off. And then I'm going to go to a Tolkien lecture at the Cohen Quad, which is like a building that Exeter owns by Worcester. And yeah, they're doing another Tolkien lecture series this year. So I'm going to try to go to those on Thursdays. And then I have a wine tasting that we organized for the social sex for like this wine vendor store. So gonna go to that, and then after that I have my Old English class, and then a committee meeting. So a lot of stuff going on today. Everybody, so next day now. It was quite busy yesterday. I went to the Tolkien lecture, which was really interesting. It was kind of talking about, like, the main objective of the lecture was discussing sort of Tolkien's relationship to modernity and also the past, because Tolkien is quite infamously, you know, a lover of medieval literature, and he's like very literary. And he did actually, and it was talking about how it might be easy to assume that he was very much like wanted to write sort of in the past, quote unquote, like wanted to write a medieval text, but Lord of the Rings really isn't. It's like the novel is a modern form, and it certainly like borrows and is inspired by medieval literature in the medieval period, but has like clear influence from Tolkien's modern life, and how the novel would be different if it wasn't, like if he had intended to write more of like a medieval piece, because he definitely could have. Like, I didn't know this, but Tolkien like wrote poetry in Old English and Middle English, which is so hardcore and crazy, and I cannot imagine. But yeah, very much could have written in that style if he wanted to. And she mentioned 2 other authors. I'd have to double check my notes for like their exact name. I think one was like Fitzgerald or something. Like 2 people who were quite popular novelists at the time, but like the novels maybe haven't like maintained their popularity now. But Tolkien and the Inklings were big fans of them, and they were writing in like an highly stylized, like archaic medieval type poetry, sort of kind of prose. And Tolkien can do that, but then like very clearly slips out of it. And then they talked a bit about how the novel is like impacted by the First World War, and Tolkien like had a lot of valuable skills as a soldier, but he actually like was declared 100% disabled by medical doctors when like soldiers are having like limbs blown off and are patched up and sent back out, because his trench fever was so bad, and how much that would have like affected his health throughout his life. Because she said, you know, you have all these letters and he's always complaining about how sick he is, and you're kind of like, oh, what a whiny man. But like it would have knocked him out, like a cold that a colleague had for 2 days would knock him out for like 2 weeks, that kind of thing, because of his trench fever. And then you kind of see that with like Frodo. It's not like a traditional hero's ending. He doesn't come back and everything is perfect and saved. Like, he comes back and is injured and hurt and he can't fully go home again, and how, you know, he's won, he's got the hero's welcome and everything, but it's not a like traditional happy ending. So yeah, it was a really, really interesting lecture. They're doing a whole series. Again, I've signed up for a few. I think there were some that like I couldn't go to, or yeah, just like I didn't sign up for every single one. So I'm gonna like look at them again and see if there's any other ones. But yeah, really enjoyed that. And then I had to motor on over to the wine tasting with Chloe. Both of us were there. We were like, we know nothing about wine. There's a man fully spitting into the buckets. I'm like, that's how you know they're serious and also disgusting. Don't do that, just drink it. But we had fun. We wound up liking the cheapest options the most for, so I don't know if those are the ones we'll like specifically order for formals, but we're like, oh, we could. So yeah. And what else? Then I went to Old English, which I really enjoyed. The things I was most nervous about were probably my paleography and my Old English class, because like I've seen Old English, have never studied it. And same with paleography and transcription. Like, I've done transcription before, but I've never taken like a dedicated transcription class. And, you know, it's going to be presumably introducing me to like a bunch of different hands that I maybe haven't seen before, different kinds of scripts. And yeah, I've looked at more like Middle English stuff than Old English. So yeah, I was like, just didn't know what to expect from it. But I did so well with the first couple transcriptions, had like no mistakes, so I was like feeling pretty good about myself. And then Old English was also, it was really fun. Like, I wasn't sure what to expect, because they say that they're for complete beginners, like you can have never seen Old English before and go in and be fine. And I was like, okay, but are you lying to me? And they were not. They are definitely geared for that, which I like, because yeah, even though like I've seen it before, never taken the specific class, so I think it's good to like not skip the kind of foundational stuff. So yeah, it was really fun. And like Old English is very much like, there are words that you can pick up and see, like you can think about like contemporary English and also like some Germanic words. But then, so like when I hear it out loud, there are words that like if you don't immediately recognize, I can kind of puzzle out. But then there are ones that like only really used in Old English, maybe in some Middle English, but yeah. So that was quite fun. I like hearing people speak it. It's just very cool. And like, it's not like a fully rolling your R's, I don't think, but like there's a bit of that. And I have never been able to do that. So I just like hearing people talk and do it. But yeah, so it was a really fun class, and I'm excited. Like, I'm not being graded on it. It's more like, did you show up and participate for the language class? So yeah, it's not like critical. And he said like, by the end of this 8 weeks, you are not going to be able to speak Old English. Like, no, it's an introduction. I mean, maybe some people could. I hope that I'll be able to do a little bit. But yeah, you're not going to be fully fluent in Old English by the end of 8 weeks. Like, that, you know, setting expectations. But I was still kind of nervous for it, because I just didn't know what the vibe was going to be really. And if he was going to be like, this is for beginners, but like, you guys know, you know, so let's like skip to advanced stuff. And this one's not. And actually, okay, for my last year of my undergrad, I had some electives that I had to take, and a lot of people recommended taking some of the like intro linguistics classes, because they were also like the only ones that were offered online, and I needed to take things online because I was substituting, whatever. And they were so much more intense than anybody led me to believe. And I was like, I may have made some mistakes, but I'm really glad that I took them, because like, not that we're getting into like the nitty gritty of necessarily like how the language functions from a linguistic point of view, but we are using like linguistics terms like morphemes and lexical morphology and stuff. And like, I would not have known, like that would have been an extra thing that I would have had to like learn and memorize had I not taken those linguistics classes. So everything worked out in the end. And I'm glad that I took those, because yeah, like I said, it's not like we would have been tested on that, or like it's something that would be super like necessarily critical to have known going into it, but it was just like one less thing for me, like one less learning curve, I guess, one less thing to memorize. So then I can just focus on like the old English morphemes themselves because I know what a morpheme is more broadly, you know? So that was good. But today I actually don't have anything formally scheduled, which is really nice. So I'm going to go to the cafe and get ahead on some readings and do some like more application stuff. So yeah, I might do that and then I might go to the MCR after. We'll see how I'm feeling. I'm back. So as you saw, I did some work in the independent cafe and then also in the MCR. And then I went to get, I had something to pick up in the covered market, but I got distracted by anthropology, so I had to try on some stuff there. All really nice. I really liked the top and both of the skirts. The pants were meh, and then I tried on this horrendous skirt that I didn't show because it was way too short. And it was too bad because I really liked the fabric and I liked the front, but because it was one of those ones where it's like a pleated skirt in the front and then shorts in the back. I don't like that because it makes me feel like a 6-year-old. So that one was a bust, but everything else was really cute. But in the covered market, I had to pick up my boots because I think they like polish them up too. Cool. Basically, I had these boots last year and they got like completely destroyed. Like this one, the sole was like just hanging on at the toe really and was coming off everywhere else. So I took it in and they fixed up both. The back heel on this one was also coming off, so they like glued it or restitched it or something. So they're like good as new, and it only cost like 12 pounds, which is pretty good. I guess it's like nearly 20 Canadian, but like I've never done that before, so I had no idea what to expect for how much it would cost. I thought that was pretty good. A whole new pair of boots, which would be like 100 pounds. So I thought that was pretty good. But for the rest of the day, for now, I'm kind of going to be in here doing some work, maybe some readings, and then I also want to read some of my book that I've just started. So that's kind of the plan. There is bar night tonight at Pembroke, but I don't think I'm going to go because the last couple days have just been so crazy and I've been like all over the place and out so late. So I'd like to just have a chill Friday afternoon and evening in. So I think Anika and I might watch a movie and stuff. So it should be fun. Hello again, everybody. It is Saturday now. Last night it was so funny because Anika, we just met as soon as she got home from lab and we like ordered dinner and then we're watching the movie and then it ended and we were like, oh my god, it's only 8:30. Bar night has not even started yet. And so, but we still just stayed in. I made her watch Sinbad because she's never seen it before and it's a cinematic masterpiece. So we watched that and then we watched some of That 70s Show and just had a nice night in. So that was really fun. And today she's going to see the 2 exhibits at the Westin, which I've already seen both of them, but I'm going to meet her for lunch at Gloucester Green Market. And then after that, I'm not really sure. I might go to a cafe after, or it'll depend. I'll see what she's up to, whether I just like walk back here with her or go out or something. I also need to go grocery shopping, so I might do that. But this is the one that came with my fairy wings for Bebop. Gonna go to Gloucester Green, have some cheap food for lunch, so should be nice. We've had some really nice weather the last couple of days. It's been like 15, 16 degrees, but I keep dressing like it's fall. And it is not. So today I wore a t-shirt in an effort to be slightly more seasonally appropriate. But it's been nice to have like a couple more warm days, though I am looking forward to like actual fall. Did you get it? No, I don't think so. Hi, vlog. had a pretty chill day yesterday. Well, kind of. I went into town with the intention of maybe going to a cafe or something, but it was matriculation, so there was a lot of students out and about, and it seemed like a lot of people with their families, which, now that I think about it, is kind of interesting, because the families, like, there isn't room in the Sheldonian for parents, so I don't think families are really invited to the matriculation ceremony, although I'm sure, like, people that are more local will have their families, you know, visit for the day and then maybe, like, go out for dinner or something after. So maybe that's what it was, but yeah. Also a lot of, like, tourists and people visiting, so the city center was just extremely busy. So I was like, there's no room in any of these cafes. The streets are so crowded. So I just got a coffee at the covered market, and then I went and waited in the lobby for Anika, who is at the Kafka and the Right Cut Rewrite exhibit, which I have been to both already, so I skipped it because I've been to Kafka a couple times actually, and had pretty recently went through Right Cut Rewrite. Really interesting exhibit though. So Anika really liked both of them. Also, they had quite a bit of stuff for Philip Pullman, who she loves. So she really likes his dark materials. So she was really into those pieces that are in the Right Cut Rewrite exhibit. And yeah, if you hear weird bubbling, it is my diffuser. I got a diffuser last year, and I was like, oh, I can get, you know, an essential oil to make my room smell nice, can of candles. I'm actually not sure if we're supposed to have diffusers, but I do, and I know a few other people that did too. And I was like, oh, I'll get some like lavender or peppermint or something. And then I was scrolling through different scents and I'm like, you can get anything. So last year I had cotton candy. And this time I got, because I was all out, I used all of it over the course of the year, but I got tobacco and vanilla. So I don't think it's quite as good as the very bougie Tom Ford perfume, but I think it smells pretty nice. Unless, like, I liked the cotton candy, but it definitely is like artificially sweet smelling. So probably not everyone would enjoy that, but I like it. You can just get these on Amazon. They're from Nakura, I think. They have a lot of different cool smells. There was a chocolate orange, which I nearly got this time. But yeah. Today I am doing some stuff here, doing some work at home, doing different readings for class for next week, and stuff for my applications, kind of compiling things. And then I've also been reading Lucy Undying, my fun book. I'm enjoying it so far. I think it's a really good, like, October read, like I said. Still not super far into it though. And then tonight we do have second dessert at Pembroke, so I'll probably go to that. Yeah, yesterday when I met Anika, we were gonna go to Gloucester Green Market, like I'd said, but it was like 4:30 and the market closed at 5, and when we got there, a lot of the booths were kind of shutting down, and also Anika had remembered that Dishoom or Dishoom? I think Dishoom. It's like this, these Indian restaurants. There's a few in London, I think, that are she'd heard were supposed to be really good, and they were opening one in Oxford, and I think it was the first day they were opening. They were doing like a soft launch, so it was like basically up and running, but everything was half off. So we went, and I think we got like four dishes and then garlic naan, 4 or 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 dishes plus naan, and it was really, really good, and it came out to be like 12 pounds each, so like about as much as you'd spend at Gloucester probably. Maybe a little bit more than you would spend per person depending on what you got at the market, but like pretty close. And you would not be able to eat there for that, at that restaurant, for that cheap ever again. And we went at the perfect time because we went in, and we went in, no line, got sat immediately. And when we left, it was like lined up around the building. So we really snagged a good time. I guess because we were kind of like, when we were leaving, it was like supper time, but we kind of went in between dinner and lunch. So, but it was still full when we went in. And yeah, it was really, really good. We got like, they were called chicken pick-me-ups, and they're kind of like chicken wings basically, with a really good kind of like chili sauce. And then I forget what they were called, but they were kind of like, I think they were like rice lentil, like crispy things that were fried with a dip. And then we got like a curry, a chicken curry kind of situation. And then these, I also don't remember what they were called. It was like dotty or something. They were like lentil kind of dumplings in a yogurt sauce with all these other toppings in it. And the yogurt and the sauces and everything were really, really good. The actual like dumpling things themselves, I wasn't crazy about. The taste was fine, but I just didn't love the texture because it was like kind of like wet but grainy. So yeah, I wasn't crazy about those, but the sauce was really good, and we were putting like, we take some of the naan and put some of the curry and then a bit of the yogurt on it, and that was really good. But would recommend that, particularly if it's half price. So did that last night, and then yeah, came back and just kind of chilled for the evening. But yeah, gonna be a slow Sunday, which is kind of nice. Okay, so I'm about to head out to second dessert. I'm probably gonna stay until the end to help Chloe and Alex, the food reps, clear up after. Although I have no idea how long these things go because I never stayed until the very end last year. But yeah, play it by ear, and I'm using this as dinner, so I plan on eating a lot of bread and cheese. But yeah, looking forward to it and actually talking to some people today, so it should be a fun time. And I'm going to say goodbye here and end the video, so I'll see you in the next one.